Welcome to Kombucha Brewing Hour. We're going to set Dad up with some kombucha in the house. So here's what we did. We made some orders online. I brought the kombucha that I made from home with us up on this trip. I've got a couple bottles here. This is already fizzy, and how do you know? For those of you who don't understand, always check your caps. If it looks like it's got a little bubble up in there, there's a lot of pressure being built up. My sister had some extra 𝐒𝐬𝐬𝐲 yerba mate unsmoked. Best one that I use is this brand. I like this brand. There are others out there. You're limited, not limited. You're only limited by your mind. So you choose wisely whatever you want to use. I prefer unsmoked. I've been using smoked, which is not going to hurt anything, but it will impart that smokiness. We picked up some organic sugar, cane sugar, when we made our run to Sam's. We ordered some gunpowder green tea because I prefer the green teas that I blend with yerba mate. That's my personal preference. I also like to use white tea, which is a little bit more expensive. It's the younger leaf of the tea. So we're going to start brewing the tea first because that's the most important thing. The other thing we have back here are the 𝐒𝐬𝒄𝐄𝐅 that I brought up from Florida. So we will get those in the brew. But first, but not last, most important thing. Smells good, so check it out. This is what we got going on in the gunpowder green tea house. What? This is a much smaller French press. I typically use, I think it's a 54 ounce style size, but this is what we have available to us, so this is what we're using. We're going to open up the yerba mate. You can measure it out. I kind of already know how much to put in here. We don't have a measuring, we have measuring cups, but what I'm going to do is put a coating on the bottom. And see, we're working with 2-gallon container, and I'll show you that in a second. So that's how much yerba mate is in there. If you put too much, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to push the press down. In this case, we might have to do 2 separate rounds, and that's okay. And now with the green tea, it's also very concentrated. I'm going to go half and, well, and a quarter. Like, so that's how much of the green tea is on top of the yerba mate. That's what we're using today. I typically use, per gallon, 1 cup of sugar. You can go a little bit more if you absolutely need it. This is the jar that we will be using. You've seen them before if you've watched my videos. The lid protects the bugs from getting in. Still allows oxygen. I prefer to put a towel over it too, just in case. Now, we do have some tricky little flies that have been round around over here. So these are the 𝐕𝐞𝐭𝐞𝐫s, symbiotic cultures of bacteria and yeast. All right, but before, we're going to add the water to this. We're using well water here, which is even better than going out and buying or having to have a filtration system. We have a water softener. We're going to fill this up. I also have filters that are plastic, or nylon actually. So there's that. We'll let this sit off to the side. Make sure if you have a French press, you make sure that screen that you push down the tea with. See, with this first press, I can already tell you, I will typically, I'm going to pour that into the container already. Why? Because it's already green, and it's a lot. Ding dong. So these are the nylon meshes that I use. You don't want any metal to touch your 𝐒𝐬𝒄𝐿 or to contaminate your brew. I use this because sometimes these French presses don't get all of the tea. And you want to make sure that the grates are right where the lip is, depending on what kind of French press you're working with. In fact, make sure that you're going in the right direction. So this allows you to strain the tea leaves, if any of them, so you don't end up with tea leaves in your SCOBY. There will be sediment in your SCOBY, in your kombucha. That's just the nature of doing this. And I always press a little bit harder. So, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Because not everybody gets this. See that? There's tea leaves already in there. See that? So it's important that you're just aware. If you can get the tea leaves in there too if you want. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just for your awareness. I'm going to go back to putting more water in here so it can sit a little bit longer. I've been doing this for about eight years or so now. And everybody has their style. My style is pretty much just go with whatever works. So we're gonna place this in the back. And this is what we just poured in there. You see how it's already that yellowy green tea color. Now, the sugar, we're gonna start out with 1.5 cups because we're probably not gonna fill this entire thing. So here's your measuring cup. And I said 1.5 cups, so I have to say that out loud so I don't overdo it. 1.5 cups, all right. If you're not on the money, it's okay. It's about 1.75 cups, maybe. No, it's just over the half mark. Put that in there. Wooden spoons are a must. We have wooden spoons coming today or Friday. So if we don't have the wooden spoons, here's the alternative. Stir it up just by moving it. See all that sediment on the bottom? That's all the sugar. And that's what the SCOBY, the kombucha, is stimulated by the caffeine in the tea. And it creates this, oh, I'm hungry effect. And it eats the sugar and creates that probiotic fermentation effect that we all love. That's better than soda. Dad's learning as we go. I like to press out all the air out of everything because it keeps things fresher and not stale. Here's where it gets messy when we put the kombucha SCOBYs in here, because there's also liquid as well. So it's like a pancake. Are you ready for this? Dun 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 dun. And this is where all the fruit flies go crazy. See that patty, how thick that gets? Isn't that crazy? Crazy cool. So we're gonna put that in. That's one. I actually have 2 in here, or 3, something like that. I took what was extra in my last batch. They're like pancakes of cellulose. He's talking to the cat. And so this extra liquid is also a part of the brew. Starter liquid, most people would call it. Voluptuous, yummy. It's going to eat up all that sugar on the bottom. I'm probably going to have to add a little bit more sugar. And now, this was the last brew I did, and the other jar that I have here is a previous week's brew. Brew. Oh, it is fizzy. So get ready. Ah! I am wearing the booch. I'm wearing kombucha. I will be jumping in the shower with all of my clothes on now because everything is sticky. This is the fermentation, the buildup of all. Dad's like, what happened? Can you tell?
Well, I figured that would happen.
That's what happens because I tend to also shake it as well. Shake it up, baby. Let's put that over there. So it's a messy process. Stand by. No. This is the part about life, that things do get messy, but don't fret, don't get upset, just go with the flow. Things happen. If you let them bother you, that's where you create your own stress. It's how you react and respond and show up. So I'm not going to get upset. I'm all sticky. It's all good. Now, what we're going to do is pour, hopefully that other bottle won't be so explosive, but I have a feeling it may be because it's already got a little cap going on. Oh yeah, that's already rushing.
Hold it upside down over that.
I did that. That's why the other one ended up like, I mean, it's less mess on the other one. See how that's going up to the top? Highly recommend. That's what we call burping, when you allow it to go up and you just let it sit on the counter until that stops foaming. You can also clean it up later. So that is just the beginning of the process. We have the starter in there. We have some sugar in there, and we're going to create more tea and in the brewing. What I tend to do is cold brew. A lot of people will heat the water up. It causes more bitterness. That's my personal feeling about it, because it brings out different tannins in the leaves of the tea, of the yerba mate and the green tea, gunpowder. But see how that color is already changing. So in this case, you just press it and see how dark that gets. We use this, filter it in. This is pretty much the process. It's not that difficult. All the things that you need, you can buy on Amazon. You can go down to Walmart. You can do whatever you want. If you have any further questions, you can always, in the comments, let me know what you think. And so, it's all for the love of the booch that we get messy and sticky. And so here we have it. We got kombucha in the house. And I got a mess to clean up.